Keyshawn Hall averaging over 20 points and over 9 rebounds a game. Rick Pitino, 73 years old last year. Historic season for St. John's. First outright Big East title in 4 decades. And then on the other sideline, it's a much younger 38-year-old Stephen Pearl, who of course took over for his father Bruce in late September. And Stephen Pearl in just his first season. It'll be Murphy for Auburn. Zuby Ejiofor, the preseason Big East Player of the Year, tipping for the St. John's Red Storm.
Early on, Brandon, we want to watch the glass. Who can win the defensive rebounding battle? Because both these teams are so effective at crashing and finding second chance opportunities, but neither of them are very good at shutting down possessions. Who can do it tonight here in Vegas will go a long way.
We spotlighted Bryce Hopkins in the open. So much experience, he gets the first bucket. And then Auburn with a quick turnover. So a rough start for the Tigers. St. John's losing on Monday to Iowa State, bouncing back, beating Baylor yesterday. Auburn beat Oregon Monday. They lost big to Michigan yesterday, so they really need to right the ship. Bounce pass inside, taken away. Good hands by Murphy. And then good hands by Darling, almost with a strip.
Well, that's something that Dylan Darling has not done on the year. He's done a great job of taking care of the basketball. It would go a long way for Auburn's offense as well. If they could turn this St. John's offense over, get out, get some runouts, get some easy baskets after yesterday.
Off balance for Hall, and he can't get it.
For St. John's, if you can check your man, boy, Auburn loves to play a lot of one-on-one. It's a lot of just getting your own game on.
A little sloppy here early in Vegas. A few turnovers.
If you think about it, Brandon, this is the 3rd game in 3 days. Some of that fatigue, you're probably a little bit disappointed. You're not playing for the championship out here, but still an unbelievable opportunity to get a quad 1 win. You know, and when you think about the totality of the season, Selection Sunday, you want to be a team that stacked wins from November on.
And both of these teams already a couple losses on the season. They would not want to leave here with a 3rd. Murphy down inside, kicks it out.
Good job by Ejiofor, not letting him get to that right hand.
Overton on the angle. He was able to draw the contact. First foul on Zuby Ejiofor.
Trying to get him going. The last 2 games, Kevin Overton, just 4 points a game. He's 3 of 15 in that stretch and 0 for 7 from 3. Gets to the body of Zuby Ejiofor, and you're just trying to put the onus on the officials there to make a call.
That's big. If Ejiofor would pick up a 2nd, then it would really loom large for St. John's, who relies so much on the senior. Kevin Overton has bounced around. First year at Auburn, had 1 at Drake, then 1 at Texas Tech. His 3rd school in 3 seasons. Meanwhile, Darling, who lit it up last year at Idaho State in the Big Sky, gives it up. Sellers, they left him for a 2nd, but he couldn't make him pay. Offensive rebound. That's going to be a tie-up. They say Murphy was clean on the defense.
Well, St. John's got an excellent look. It's all because of the cut there through that defense of Auburn. And then this is just vintage Zuby Ejiofor. He's really gotten into a groove out here in Vegas of getting back to the offensive glass. 8 offensive rebounds over the last 2 games.
I didn't know if Ejiofor would come back, Robbie, but so happy to have him back at St. John's. Well, such a great player.
No, he totally is, and he's certainly expanded his game. I think he's trimmed his body down a little bit, looks to be in great shape. But you've seen him kind of play a little bit more out on the perimeter. He's certainly shooting some 3s this season, but he's still getting his bread is buttered at getting on the offensive glass and scoring in that paint.
One of the best in the country at that. Down in the lane, and they're going to call it travel before the shot. So both teams with a couple of early turnovers.
It looked like he just kind of put the brakes on, but we've seen in college this year where that's been allowed, much like in the NBA.
Officials today, by the way, Paul Sells, Brian O'Connor, Byron Jarrett. Golly, everything is so active on defense.
Todd Pettiford has been active early on. He's certainly been playing those passing lanes and trying to blow up handoffs.
Darling down inside. Kick out there, Sellers again. He's missed a couple early. Knocked out, it will stay with St. John's.
Well, Rick Pitino wants Osiah Sellers to take every one of those. On that possession, he did a phenomenal job of relocating and getting into the passer's vision. Any open shot, they want that thing going up for Osiah Sellers.
22 points for him yesterday against Baylor, and now a whistle. And not only a foul on Hall, but he is hobbling, and that's their leading scorer and rebounder. Wonder if he knocked knees there, Robbie.
It looks like he's kind of walking this thing off. Yeah, that definitely hurts. That is knee to knee.
Little lob inside, edge of four. Through the contact, they're going to get Freeman with a foul. We got 2 free throws.
That's just Zuby Ejiofor ducking in, and what a rough stretch there for Keyshawn Hall. He's immediately posted up, and now you have to have Elijah Freeman coming over, and he fouls to save a basket.
Zuby Ejiofor at the line for St. John's.
Just over 60% at the line this year for the senior, and he gets the bounce.
Boy, St. John's has a lot of guys that can burn you, and especially when you think about who's coming off the bench. Like the fact that you've got Ian Jackson and Dylan Mitchell as 2 guys that are such good players and can come in and affect the game in a variety of ways. You know, Dylan Mitchell, an excellent defender. Ian Jackson, he can put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, former McDonald's All-American. A lot of talent for Rick Pitino.
There's that flex. That's Bruce Pearl's staple right there. Obviously, Steven carrying that over. I love the way Auburn runs it, though. You know, if you think of flex offense, you're thinking, well, that's boring. Who wants to run a pattern? But they run it to get really advantageous matchups.
And their defense getting another steal. Overton picked the pocket. There's a skip. Freeman down inside. Murphy, nice spin. Can't finish it.
Well, that's what you got to finish that with Dylan Darling down there. Good hands. Todd Pettiford has been so active early on.
And then a stop and pop. What a sequence for the sophomore from Jersey.
Right, take the rock and just walk right in. Todd Pettiford, he has been riding a heater out here in Las Vegas.
Gives Auburn the 1-point lead. Down inside. Hopkins. Bats it down. Blocked. My, the Auburn defense leading to offense for Freeman. Rick Pitino has seen enough.
Well, the Auburn defense getting it done here.
TNT Sports coverage of the Players Air is brought to you by Lilly, a medicine company. And by Geico. It feels good to Geico. The Sphere in Vegas, 5-4 early. Let's go over to Nabil Kareem.
Hey guys, St. John's offense has been so impressive this year and at this tournament, and it's the way they score the basketball that makes them so difficult to guard. 60% of their baskets here in Vegas have been at the rim or in transition, and when you do stop them there, they'll spray it out. Rick Pitino's been talking to his shooters. He wanted to let it fly, as Robbie had mentioned. They're hitting nearly 43% of their threes here in Vegas. All 5 guys on the court can handle the rock, push the pace. It's really a challenge to slow this offense down, although Auburn guys doing a good job early on in this one.
Yeah, Auburn 4 steals and 2 blocks already.
When St. John's on the season has at times given it away, but the 4 turnovers have just led to Auburn offense, and the Johnnies also 1 of 5 from the field. So certainly not the start Rick Pitino was hoping for.
And he gives it back to Rick Pitino's crew. And Rick Pitino going right to his bench and telling Ian Jackson to come into the game. He's going to replace Dylan Darling. It's a kid that transferred home. He's from the Bronx, is Jackson. Went to North Carolina, McDonald's All-American, and now back home with St. John's. And he's picking up a really quick foul as Ian Jackson.
Well, Ian Jackson has certainly done his part on the offensive side of the floor, but the side that's going to determine how much he plays and how well he plays this season is probably down here. Can you stay on the floor? And Rick Pitino has certainly encouraged him to not play through his offense.
Offensive rebound inside for Keyshawn Murphy.
We talked about in the open, who can win the glass? Who can do the better job of shutting down these possessions with two of the better offensive rebounding teams in college hoops?
Good contest from Ejiofor, but another offensive board. He did. It's offensive on Murphy.
He didn't need to. You know, you've got such a size advantage over Shannon there. You do a great job if you're getting on the offensive glass the way that Auburn has and the way that Keyshawn Murphy has. And there you see that left arm, just overdoing it.
First foul on the senior for Birmingham, Alabama.
Stephen Pearl has got to be thrilled with the response here. They got blitzed by Michigan from the jump yesterday. They've come out here. This is exactly what you want to see if you're an Auburn fan.
Great look inside, but Mitchell just missed it.
And Mitchell is fourth nationally in field goal percentage at almost 74% on the year.
And a surprising miss, and St. John just struggling to find their footing.
That ball for Auburn needs to keep moving from side to side. We talked about it earlier. 3 assists in a game. That's a wild number. There's a lot of isolation. This guy can really score it like that, but that defense needs to be moved.
Inside of 5 on the timer. Overton with a blow-by in the bucket.
Just come off that pick and roll, and certainly Ian Jackson never able to square the ball up. No help from the St. John's bigs. Kevin Overton found some easy baskets to get his offense going early on here.
7-0 run for the Tigers. Ejiofor. Good spin move and finish.
Keyshawn Hall with that one foul does not want the foul, so it's a wise move to go right inside for Zuby Ejiofor and look to attack that matchup. There's the flex again. This time, great screen set. Boy, got a great look there for Overton.
But a bad pass nearly taken away.
St. John's has had a real casualness about them to this game. There's another turnover.
Some of these passes are just errants.
He threw that right to Elijah Freeman. That was a terrible pass.
6 turnovers, and we played just over 6 minutes. Good skip to Pettiford.
That was a great look, and the screen set by Keyshawn Murphy. Freed up Auburn's best player.
Another good skip pass. In and out.
Isaiah Sellers has had 3 wide open shots and hasn't been able to knock down any of them.
Right to the rim for Tahad Pettiford.
You've got to stop the ball in transition, and with as fast as Tahad Pettiford is, if you don't stop him early, good luck slowing him down.
Preseason All-SEC, preseason All-American Pettiford. So's that guy, Zuby Ejiofor.
I like the fact that St. John's, when they need a basket, they throw that thing right inside to Zuby Ejiofor. It's one-on-one coverage. Auburn not bringing a post double, just trying to scrape. He takes his time and gets to that strong right jump hook. You guard Keyshawn Hall, you're going to be in for a long night, because anytime he's got the basketball, what a pass that was.
That was tremendous. What a feed to Murphy.
Anytime Hall has the ball, it's looking to just get his game on. What a behind-the-back look there to set the table for Keyshawn Murphy.
Yeah, that was Keyshawn to Keyshawn. They spell it a little differently, but same pronunciation.
Good job by Elijah Freeman. It's a dunking from Dylan Mitchell. He just took it away. He battled down there in the post.
There's the blow-by and the athleticism of Jackson.
That's what he does, shooting 52% from the field on the year. Combine that with 42% from 3. Ian Jackson, the problems are on that end. He's got a guard on this one.
Well, Rick Pitino has said that for a number of his guys. Team defense, a little bit of an issue early. Murphy, yes.
He loves to get back to that right hand. This job by Murphy is slipping out of that screen, and when they throw that thing into him, he's always looking to roll back to the strong right.
3 goes wanting short. St. John's yet to hit a triple, 0 of 4. Pettiford gets a screen, sees a lane with the right hand.
Tahad Pettiford is is just so dynamic. Has such an elite handle. He's getting downhill. Boy, he is a tough guard to contain.
He's got 7, and that's the difference in the game right now. Jackson. They're still cold from deep, and here comes Pettiford.
A good decision there. It's a hot Pettiford. You don't have numbers, just throw it out, and that's just got to be a layup there for Elijah Freeman.
But instead, he traveled. We got a media timeout. How about that pass a moment ago?
This is an point against a very talented St. John's ball club.
Well, you said it. They got blitzed by Michigan. Michigan scores over 100. It's the 3rd day of this tournament. You're ready to go home for Thanksgiving, but this is a pretty good response.
No, it totally is. And I think Rick Pitino is now looking for a response from his own team.
Yeah, they've been really out of sorts, fading away. Hopkins can't get it, but he got his own miss and drew the foul.
That's going to be the ball game. And it's for both teams. Every time a shot goes up, it's just going to be an absolute battle. Ejiofor as good as just about anybody in the country at keeping plays alive. Keyshawn Hall's down there battling him, and then you see Opurum has to take that foul to save a basket.
And Opurum, by the way, number 14 in white. He's going to see a little more playing time tonight, the sophomore from Nigeria, because Filip Jovic, the freshman from Bosnia, is out with a wrist injury this evening.
Something just interesting for the game. Going to break, there was a travel called on Auburn, and it was on the slow step. That's the second one they've called on them that actually is a legal play. So I don't know why that's been called, but Auburn's had a couple baskets taken off the board because of those missed calls.
And we'll see if that's a trend that continues. A little bit of a difference in the college game this year. Hall trying to get it down inside. He does. Here's Williams-Adams with 3 to shoot. Patience. Almost knocked it back in, but Hopkins gets a rebound. Hopkins.
Got to stop the ball. You let him get that deep, and that's not being a stop. But you've got to slow down Bryce Hopkins. You can't just meet him inside the paint.
If that's on Ejiofor, that's his second. But it's not. They got Dylan Mitchell with a push.
Keyshawn Hall always looking to be aggressive, and that first bump is from Dylan Mitchell.
And Rick Pitino thankful that wasn't on his big fella. Pettiford tried to slip it in there to Opurum.
St. John's a little bit late on that help defense coming over. Opurum had an opportunity. It's a good pass from Pettiford and hit him right in the hands.
11 turnovers between the two teams in just about 11 minutes of action. Ejiofor will rip and drive. Opurum goaltending.
I love the fact there that St. John's, you're occupying the weak side. You've got Ejiofor in the middle of the floor. And there's that screening action on the left side. And then it's just rip and go. It's one-on-one, and Zuby Ejiofor's winning that battle.
He's got 8. Gosh, between Ejiofor and Hopkins, you look out at the size of those guys. They can create so many matchup issues.
There's a reason. You talk about those two guys, why St. John's is fifth nationally in points in the paint. They have dudes that can score in there.
Good ball movement. Overton not frazzled by the late shot clock.
Well, you love the movement of the basketball, like you said. The fact that it's an extra pass, it's driving a closeout, and how about Overton going right up and over the top of Zuby Ejiofor, getting to his body.
Hopkins tried to separate. Yep. Williams-Adams stripped it. Pettiford the other way. Somehow slipped it up and in.
There is no doubting that Pettiford can absolutely get buckets. To think that scoring average of 13 a game is only going to go up and up after that slow start to his year.
Well, he already has 9. Good pass. And there is the first 3 for Sellers.
Well, he's had great looks all game long. It's a phenomenal skip pass there from Dylan Mitchell, who's essentially a point forward.
You mentioned that Rick Pitino wants him to shoot it. He told him that first couple games of the year, he was a little bashful. Rick Pitino said, you are out there to shoot the basketball. Oh, good feed, and Williams-Adams with a flush.
Well, Bryce Hopkins has got to make Keyshawn Hall use that ball screen. You get turned down like that, all your help is to the middle of the floor.
Accessories, go to shopncaasports.com today. Auburn off to a great start. They have 6 assists. Remember, they only had 3 yesterday.
Well, the ball has certainly done a better job of moving, and give a lot of credit to these Auburn players for doing a better job of playing for one another. Get the ball to the post, draw 2, kick that thing out, make the extra pass, and then get that dribble drive right back to the painted area. That's a great possession by Auburn, and certainly the offense has looked a bit different than what we saw yesterday against Michigan.
They beat Oregon Monday when they had 14 assists out here in Vegas. Off to a 5-2 start under Stephen Pearl in his first season. Rick Pitino has already taken a couple of timeouts here in the first half. Looking for his team to get settled down. This is the guy that can do it. Ejiofor. He's already in double figures.
Well, if Ejiofor's going to have one-on-one coverage with Keyshawn Murphy, they need to continue to throw the basketball inside and let him just go to work. That's exactly what they do here. It's one-on-one. He's got his time. If you're Murphy, you've got to take away his right hand. Ejiofor loves that right jump hook.
And Rob, Keyshawn Murphy now has 2. That's big for Auburn.
Well, especially with Jovic out tonight with that shoulder injury.
But right now, they're going to leave him on the court.
Roll the dice here.
I would imagine you're going to see a lot more of St. John's going inside.
I assume that we'll eventually see more of Emeka Okpara. They're trying to rip Murphy into the post, and they're going to let him go to work now.
Fading, fell to the ground. Somehow he got it back. Senior from Cleveland, Keyshawn Hall, crossover, behind the back, through the lane, off the glass.
Boy, we talked about Pettiford's ability to do that, but Keyshawn Hall gets his game on just about the same. This is a big game for St. John's in terms of just guarding your man, and it looks like that could be on Murphy, and that would be a massive development here.
I think it is. He scraped across the arm of Ejiofor.
Keyshawn Hall wheeling and dealing. He'll spin on you. He'll go between the legs. He'll go behind the back. You've got to lock in on that midsection and try to contain the bounce, but that's a lot easier said than done.
It is the third on Keyshawn Murphy. They're going to go with a smaller lineup here as they bring in Overton.
Smart by Ejiofor to just put this thing on the ground and go right at Keyshawn Murphy. Man, these are some of the toughest minutes that Sebastian Williams-Adams is going to see in his young career. You're going up against a total grown man in Zuby Ejiofor, and that's asking a lot. Williams-Adams, very talented. Top 50 player coming out of high school. Bit of a reprieve here early because you do have Ruben Prey, who's not small by any means either, but he's not Zuby Ejiofor.
A quick breather for their leader, Ejiofor, who has 13 points.
And Murphy has 5 of Auburn's 10 rebounds, so certainly that's a stat to watch for too, with as good as St. John's is on the glass.
Taken away.
That's where Overton's got to fake line, go fake low and go high, or fake high and go low. You can't just turn the basketball over, throwing it inside.
Ejiofor goes to the bench. Prey comes in and puts it in the bucket.
Well, St. John should go inside every time because Sebastian Williams-Adams at 6'8". It's just you're going up against Ruben Prey, who's 6'11".
And now a steal by Ibinayo. A wraparound pass.
Dylan Mitchell has missed 2 right at the rim. Those are shots that he's made all year long.
They get it back. Mid-range jumper, no. Mitchell skies for it. Drops it off.
Pass. Another one.
They have missed some bunnies at the rim. St. John's
is 4 of 9 on layups.
They almost had their first lead since it was 4-2. They should have. fadeaway from the free throw line is good for Magwood.
Stephen Pearl, he's trusting those freshmen out here, and Magwood did a terrific job right there of creating that space with that mid-range. Step backs to action and just drill it.
Four-star top 50 recruit Magwood out of Louisville, Kentucky. In the corner, wide open, and the three drops, and we are tied. That's Ibinayo from deep.
There is certainly a conversation being had between Sebastian Williams-Adams, Stephen Pearl, and also Keyshawn Hall. Just a total miscommunication here from the Auburn defense. And Sadiku Ibinayo, not exactly known as a perimeter jump shooter, just 1 of 5 from 3 on the year. But you can't just lose track of a guy. He is on scholarship. He is wide open. You can see Stephen Pearl just not pleased with that mix-up.
Well, it felt like St. John's was sleepwalking the first 8 minutes of this game, but they are alive now.
Dylan Mitchell can flat out guard. He is totally going to be in the mix for Big East Defensive Player of the Year.
Good defensive play there by Ibinayo.
I'd say that St. John's has woken up here. That bench has a lot of energy, and now off that turnover, Dylan Mitchell looking to be aggressive.
It's like a totally different team from the start.
To Hot Pettiford, he's always looking to attack, but terrific help. Ibinayo, those long arms, able to just reach out and take your rock.
Ibinayo, not a lot of offense in his career, but he hit the three, got the defensive stop, a guy who was with Rick Pitino at Iona, now all 3 years with him in Queens.
And he's been invaluable to this program for that, just in terms of helping with the transition. He and Zuby Ejiofor, the two guys that have been here from the start of the Rick Pitino era.
It was so much new.
Look at this.
Ibinayo, though, missed it. Everything at the rim is not dropping. Prey ultimately gets fouled and will go to the line.
And now up to 4 of 12 on layups for St. John's. But the offensive rebounds also starting to collect for the Johnnies. They now have 8. And with the foul trouble of Keyshawn Murphy, everything is kind of flipped with those rebounding numbers.
TNT Sports coverage of the Players Area is presented by Sam's Club. Join Sam's Club today and celebrate the season of yes and say yes to everything you want and need. And Prey, 1 of 2. St. John's their first lead here since it was 4-2 in the early going.
Look at Sellers guarding the ball. He is just blowing up those ball screens, but St. John's getting mixed up with that Spain back screen, and you lose track of the basket there. It looked like it was going in a good place. Auburn, they're trying to find their way, dealing with some foul trouble. We got a good one here, though, in Vegas.
Bench waking up, and that is certainly the case. They have turned up the dial from my vantage point, sitting courtside right beside him, and they were ignited by the offensive rebounds. Coach Pitino walking over to the bench and said, see, this is what happens when we rebound. 8 of them so far, offensive rebounds, getting them back in this game and giving them some life.
That's something he's been preaching all season, Robbie, and certainly when they can do that, they're going to win a lot of games.
Well, last year, they were one of the elite rebounding teams. And you think about with their personnel, what they were able to accomplish with R.J. Lewis and certainly Zuby Ejiofor leading that charge, getting on the offensive boards. No surprise to see that St. John's is right back there again this season as a great offensive rebounding team.
Those numbers on your screen, the issues, though, around the rim that you talked about.
They've missed some point-blank layups, and from guys that don't normally do that. Dylan Mitchell has been phenomenal from a field goal percentage perspective this year.
A foul. This is going to go against Auburn, so more issues for the Tigers on the glass.
Well, that third foul to Keyshawn Murphy changed everything.
And now
once
you've got
that happened, St. John's has just obliterated them on the glass.
Well, now you've got 2 on that guy, Sebastian Williams-Adams, so that front line struggling right now for Stephen Pearl.
Boy, it looked like, yeah, that O'Perham was waiting to go in, and then Stephen Pearl just kind of waved him back. So this is really rolling the dice now with Sebastian Williams-Adams.
A lot of trust in a freshman from Houston, Texas, number 33. Tapped out, but it went right to Jackson. Ibinayo. And a rebound down to Hall.
Yeah, Keyshawn Hall, he took on Zuby Ejiofor there. Had to have it for Auburn.
Approaching 3 minutes. Pettiford had the hot hand early. He's got 9 here in the first half.
Ian Jackson was trying to get back up in front Williams-Adams and ended up holding him and committing a foul.
And that is 2 on the sophomore.
St. John switching 5 ways, so you're going to have some mismatches, whether it's on the perimeter or inside. That's going to be a foul on Jackson every time with the way he grabbed him.
Rick Pitino keeping Jackson on the court. Down inside, double comes. He traveled. Ninth turnover of the half for Auburn.
Well, the post double coming over, and then Sebastian Williams-Adams totally losing his footing.
Jackson splits him.
Ended up being a pass.
Yeah, Mitchell stole it from him.
Wow.
And a good finish. Ibinayo showing some offense here tonight.
This is as aggressive as he's been all season long.
Almost a 5-second call. Out of control, almost turned it over, did Williams-Adams.
This has been a helter-skelter possession here.
This is kind of how St. John started on offense.
The thing about Jahan Pettiford is no matter what the possession is, he always has the ability to make it right. Wasn't able to knock that down, but certainly a very talented ISO scorer. How about Sadiku Ibinayo? I mean, just looking to get his offense on. A guy that usually is glue guy, hustle plays, defender. He's knocked down a 3. He's gotten to the rim a couple times. That's very unlike him. Now a turnover going the other way for Auburn.
Pettiford making things happen defensively. Can't get the scoop shot. Jackson leads the break. Euro step, yes, and the harm.
Well, a missed layup on one end for Auburn leads to a run out for Ian Jackson and St. John's on the other. Boy, look at that strength there, going right through the defense. Little Euro step. You got Elijah Freeman going for the steal there. He gets knocked back, and Ian Jackson now with an opportunity for 3.
And he converts, and St. John's with their largest lead here at 6. St. John's, remember in the preseason, they were ranked 5th, their highest ever, coming off that 31-win campaign last year. But they got off to not necessarily a slow start, but they lost that tough game against Alabama. They lost one here in Vegas, and now they're trying to finish on a positive note. Pettiford down the lane, switch to the right. Offensive rebound, O'Perham. There's just no space in there, and it's blocked by Mitchell. 8 to shoot.
Now, Auburn's got to get back. They've got to get some of that ball movement again. That ball's been sticking. A lot of isolation, a lot of individual plays here.
Dangerous pass taken away. Mitchell all by himself. And the lead is up to 8 as Stephen Pearl shakes his head looking on.
Auburn had 6 assists pretty early in the game. They've been stuck on that number for quite some time.
Inside of a minute, the Tigers certainly could use a bucket. Overton picks his dribble up. 5 to shoot. Pettiford, step back triple, no. Offensive rebound and the putback by Williams-Adams.
Well, what an effort there by Sebastian Williams-Adams to just not be blocked out. It's another possession where it's ending up in a tough shot. There's not a lot of action, but Williams-Adams saves the day on the offensive putback.
That stopped an 8-0 run for the Johnnies. 5-second difference between the shot and game clock here. Ejiofor thought about it. Jab step, he will pull. And he hits. What can he do? Final seconds. Pettiford. No. TNT Sports coverage of the Players' Air is presented by Sam's Club. Join Sam's Club today and celebrate the season of yes and say yes to everything you want and need. Well, these teams want to win before going home for Thanksgiving. St. John's and Auburn. And right now it is Auburn down by 9 against the Red Storm as we take a look at tonight's Geico game summary. It's kind of a tale of two halves within the first half, if you will. Auburn jumped out to the early lead. St. John's steadied the ship, ratcheted up their defense, and they lead it by 9. Brandon Gaunt, Robbie Hummel back with you. It's like St. John's when they first started. They were on a different planet, but all of a sudden they found themselves and looked really good.
It felt like that Keyshawn Murphy third foul totally changed the game, and Zuby Ejiofor ends up with 17 in that first half. I also thought Auburn got a little bit stagnant. They had 6 assists at the 8-minute mark, and they have 0 the rest of the first half. So certainly the Tigers going to have to get back to moving the basketball, and we'll see with Keyshawn Murphy, when does Stephen Pearl go back to him? He's not starting the second half.
Rick Pitino's crew ended the first half on an 11-2 run. Well, we've got a clock malfunction that they're trying to figure out before we get the second half started. Second ever meeting between these two schools. The only other meeting came in the 1986 NCAA tournament out in Long Beach, California. Auburn got the win. Chuck Person in that game, 27-15. And now all these years later, they meet in 2025 in Vegas.
No surprise to see Zuby Ejiofor cross screen early on. They're going to play through the big fella until Auburn can prove that they can stop him.
Top of the arc, in and out. Offensive board again, and a foul will put Ejiofor at the line. Nabil, what did you find out from Stephen Pearl?
Well, Coach Pearl also felt like it was a tale of two halves. He said they had a pretty good first 10 minutes. It was the final 10 minutes where they got punked a little bit on the offensive glass. Those 10 offensive rebounds really hurting them. He also mentioned Keyshawn Murphy getting to that foul trouble did not help the cause, so that was a source of frustration. He says we got to get back to executing and not letting St. John's ball pressure bother them.
Well, the issue is now you have Sebastian Williams-Adams, who just picked up his third personal.
Well, and just the loss of Filip Jovic. Even though he's only a freshman, he is a physical presence at 6'8", 225. Against St. John's, you just need bodies. Right now, Auburn is running low on him because of their foul issues.
Jovic out if you miss it this game with the injury. They're hoping to get him to return soon, but he will not play tonight. There's that left wrist injury for the freshman from Bosnia. They got a foul there on Sannon of St. John's before they got it in. Freeman driving right at Ejiofor. Do not count the basket. The foul was on the floor. That's 2 on the big man.
Boy, Elijah Freeman's athletic there. How about the balance and the strength to take on this contact of Zuby Ejiofor? Boy, with that continuous movement, new rule, that was kind of close to maybe being an and one.
You're supposed to be able to finish that step that you're
it's
on.
It's like half continuation from the NBA.
Yeah. A triple from Keyshawn Hall. Guy who has bounced around in college, but started his college career here in Vegas at UNLV 4 years ago.
They need to get him going, and certainly Keyshawn Hall is very capable of doing just that. A little bit of a quiet start for him, but you know what? You set a great screen, and that flex screen across the baseline is right there. Defense opens up, and all of a sudden you get an open shot.
Great Auburn SID Kirk Sampson was telling me that Keyshawn Hall still has a Nevada driver's license. He got it renewed when he was at school at UNLV, so he's kind of back at home here, even though he's from Ohio.
It'd be tough for him to pick which state he's getting his license in when you've been at UNLV, George Mason, UCF, and also now Auburn.
Boy, he was so good last year at UCF. Led the Big 12 in scoring. There he is at the rim.
There's no doubt that Auburn is making a concerted effort to just get him involved. After that quiet first half, he's off to a loud start to the second.
Sannon inside, then kicks it to the corner. Sellers from 17.
But a really good play there by Josan Sannon. That could have been a tough one at the rim. Instead, you kick that thing to the perimeter, and with the shot fake, you get an easy shot. Here's the cross screen for Keyshawn Hall. Dylan Mitchell a little bit late getting there. Hall gets that into the glass quickly with shot blockers looming. Auburn really converging on the ball there. Their help defense been locked in, but you can't lose track of him. Sannon can make you pay.
The other thing that's underrated about Ejiofor is his passing.
No
we
question.
saw it right there.
Yeah, averaging over 3 a game. Actually 11th in the Big East right now in assists.
And Sannon had really been struggling with his shot. One for his previous 14 before hitting that 3. In the corner.
St. John's fortunate there. That's like size. That's just got to be a switch. Just talk that out.
Oh, count it! A chance at 4 for Overton.
Well, this has totally been a game of runs. We gave a lot of credit to St. John's for the way they hung in there to start the first, and you got to give a lot of credit to Auburn now for the response out of the half. You have a breakdown there with the St. John's defense, and off the offensive rebound, they just never get their floor positioning back.
Dylan Mitchell committed the foul, and Rick Pitino takes him right out of the game and brings in E.B. Nio.
Well, for as good as Dylan Mitchell is defensively, he's had a couple breakdowns here to start this half that are very uncharacteristic of him.
Tigers back within 5.
But good hands there by Williams-Adams.
Hall lowering the shoulder. Tap back is good for Freeman.
Well, Stephen Pearl thought the Auburn Tigers got punked into the first half. Right now, Auburn has totally flipped that. They're punking out St. John's.
And Rick Pitino now has just 1 timeout remaining with over 17 minutes left in the game.
Boy, this game, this is a physical and not for the weak take. It doesn't go on the first one. Give Elijah Freeman the credit. Didn't expect that to go in. Still playing through it. Stephen Pearl has to be thrilled with the response of his squad.
Eczema is unpredictable.
Such a spectacle to Sphere. You never know what images you're going to see. St. John's up 3. Let's take a look at the Sam's Club play of the game, Robbie.
Well, it's all about effort. Keyshawn Hall just bringing the boom there to Bryce Hopkins, and then the extra effort there from Elijah Freeman on the offensive glass. Now, both teams have kind of taken turns at getting the other one on the offensive boards, and right now in that first 4-minute segment of the second half, it's been Auburn's turn to impose their will.
6-0 run in 30 seconds for the Tigers to get right back within 3, and St. John's ended that half on the strong run, and then Auburn comes out and throws the first punch of the second half.
I'm going to guess that Rick Pitino was animated in that huddle.
Yes.
I have to assume that his guys felt his presence.
I think he's probably animated in every huddle.
They need to throw this thing inside to Ejiofor. As long as Murphy's not in the game, it just needs to go inside every time.
Especially with how dominant Ejiofor has been with 19 points.
It might not end up in a post-up that leads to a score for him, but it's going to get you something open on the perimeter if not.
Overton trying to fight against E.B. Nio. That was pretty good defense.
Really good defense and a tough shot there from Overton. Had to make a play. Shot clock was winding down.
E.B. Nio's giving Rick Pitino some good minutes. 3 on the way from Sandin, and he gets this one.
Well, Auburn just never matched up, and you talked about some of Sandin's struggles, but even with that being said, he's still shooting 37% from 3 on the year.
And he was billed as a shooter out of high school and last year at Arizona State. That's a strength of his. Pettiford gets by.
But how about the job of Sebastian Williams-Adams getting that post up and just clearing the way for Pettiford?
Well, now Sandin feeling it a bit.
Oh, he just won. He's one of those guys. Short memory.
Pettiford with the ball leads all Tigers with 11.
Every time Pettiford gets a switch, you just think that his mindset is, I'm getting buckets. That thing's going up.
That's quite a matchup between him and Hopkins there on that last possession. Timeout on the floor. Sellers just picked up his 3rd for St. John's as we head to the benches here in Vegas. For that trophy in about 20 minutes over on TNT. In the consolation game, Kansas surprising Tennessee 81-76. And then Gonzaga and Michigan coming up shortly.
But what a win for Kansas. The way that Tennessee played yesterday against Houston, that's a pretty surprising result.
Especially without Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
A lot to build on for Bill Self and the Jayhawks.
And Kansas has kind of had to grind their way through offensively without Darren Peterson. They've been a certain work in progress there.
But they came out here, they go 3-0. They beat Notre Dame, Syracuse, and that win today against Tennessee. Pettiford slings it across. Freeman.
Shot clock going down. Gonna have to make a play.
Drives it on Ejiofor.
Good job by Zuby Ejiofor, hanging in there, taking that contact, and still doing a great job contesting that shot.
I feel like we see that often. Smaller guys think that they can get it in against Ejiofor.
They've got to throw it inside to Ejiofor. He's got Tahad Pettiford down there, and St. John's just refuses to throw it in.
Instead, it's Hopkins. Rebound, Jackson takes it. Hopkins, yes, and the foul.
Well, the battle of the offensive boards just swings back and forth with 2 of the better rebounding teams in the country. Both these teams have their deficiencies of closing them down. Ian Jackson just flying up there, and then Bryce Hopkins driving it right back.
Wondered when Stephen Pearl would bring back in Keyshawn Murphy with those 3 fouls. He's out there now.
You'd think that St. John's would look to go at him immediately on the floor. Although you'd think they would have went immediately to Hot Pettiford, and they did not do that.
But they had gotten 11 offensive rebounds St. John's had since Murphy picked up his 3rd. So Stephen Pearl said, I just need him out there. Here he is offensively.
Zuby Ejiofor has been locked in defensively there. He shut down that handoff for Pettiford. Now got a fingertip on that one, too.
It belongs to the Red Storm.
Pettiford wants to challenge it.
I don't know if Stephen Pearl will want to use that here in this spot,
He's
though.
watching the iPad. Oh, he does want to.
He does.
Dylan Mitchell is trying to get the ball from Paul Sells to inbound it, and he wouldn't give it to him. Now, granted, the rule says they have to take their time on some of those calls that are questionable. See, Ejiofor gets a fingertip on it, and that goes to the legs of Tahad Pettiford.
Yeah, maybe it did not touch him. Hits.
Yeah, it clearly hits Ejiofor, and
and
I think it whiffs off Tahad Pettiford.
Giving you every angle we have.
The video guy for Auburn. Good work. That iPad.
And the only question, I don't think it did, but did it graze that right hand? Pettiford was clearly...
I think you'd see the rotation of the ball change if it did.
The thing with using the challenge now, and I'm not saying Stephen Pearl made a mistake, but even if you get this call, that means you only have 1 challenge remaining for the final 14-26. But maybe he feels right now with his team down 7 that every possession is really important.
We talked about the challenge yesterday. I think that if you win the challenge, you should be able to get another challenge and have it essentially
until you're wrong.
Until you're wrong,
yes.
then you lose it. But
yes.
if you're right, you continue to have really as many challenges as you are possible. Infinity. If you get everyone right, you keep a challenge.
And we discussed this yesterday, Rob. With time, that may come into play. This is the first year they're trying this.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about how they didn't go maybe as far as we would have liked to have seen. Whereas, like, if there's a player that gets fouled and he drops the ball out of bounds, well, it's off that player, but clearly a foul made him do it. The NBA, that's the rule. And I think that's where we'll eventually get to, but it was a big step, so I'm glad we at least have this.
It's an effort to speed up the game because there used to be so many stoppages on calls like this going to the monitor, so they wanted to force the coaches to send them to the monitor. And they do change the call, so Steve Pearl and the Auburn Tigers will keep their challenge.
After review, the challenge is deemed successful.
What a difference in these coaches, by the way. You got Rick Pitino at 73 in his 38th year going for win number 890, and then young Stephen Pearl at 38 going for win number 6 here today.
I played against Stephen Pearl in college, which is pretty crazy.
Of course, played for his dad, Bruce, at Tennessee.
You think about some of these young head coaches. I played against John Shire in college and high school, and certainly I played against Stephen Pearl in college. It's like, man, what am I doing wrong? These guys are leading programs and
You're leading broadcasts.
Well, I'm working with you, Evansville's finest. That's what I'm doing.
I'm really sorry about that, Rob. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah, get to spend it with my boy Brandon Gard. Let's go.
Into the clock, taken away. Good defense by Sannon on the leak out.
Another missed layup there for St. John's, and now a run-outs for Auburn.
And Hall is going to draw the foul against Mitchell. That's his third. Looks like Hopkins just never really got his footing on that layup attempt.
They are now 7 of 16 from the field on layups.
Rick Pitino is not going to like those numbers.
Keyshawn Hall on the line for Auburn to shoot 2.
4 days of college hoops action in under the Palm Springs lights. The Acrisure series concludes Friday at 2 Eastern on True TV and HBO Max. So Hall converts 50-45 as we approach 14 minutes.
Little zone here from Auburn. 3-1. This is like the change-up there from Stephen Pearl. Just gives St. John something different to look at, and you got a rebound out of it if you zone up.
Murphy, remember, playing with 3 fouls. They thought he traveled, no whistle, gets the bucket.
It's like Luis Scola back in the day. He's getting back to that right hand. He's going to pivot and find his way to his strength. Oh, what a block.
Block on the other end. So Murphy playing with those 3 fouls, but still aggressive on both ends.
We'll see if he keeps this pivot foot down. Keyshawn Murphy wheeling and dealing. Pretty good move there. And then honestly, a risky play, but certainly one you've got to hang in there to make. He gets the clean block and stays in the game.
Ejiofor, great move. He is up over 20 now.
They need to throw the ball into him more.
Yes, like you said, everything needs to funnel through that guy.
With the foul trouble and just the way he's played, he certainly deserves touches.
Hall thought about the 3, gets into the lane.
But he is going to punish his defender. He's just looking to go right through you.
Well, he is strong, 6'7", 240. This guy's strong. Using the pivot foot.
Murphy's got to stay. He can't commit a foul, so they should throw that thing into him whenever he's posting up.
That's what Rick Pitino keeps screaming from the sideline.
Looked like Hall tried to pull the. Boy, he got away with a travel there. Hall pulled the chair out. Keyshawn Hall is just essentially like a bowling ball. He's just going in there.
He lowers that shoulder.
He's going to make you feel him.
6 offensive rebounds. That's all in the second half on this side for St. John's.
I like this. The substitution by Rick Pitino, a good one. 12:34, media timeout coming up here. Get Zuby Ejiofor a little bit of extra rest and bring him right back after the media.
Hopkins is automatic from the line. Here in Vegas, he's a perfect 20 for 20, 5 for 5 today. Free throws are a big story. The Johnnies are +9 in that category. Short by Pettiford. Foul on the rebound, and that's going to go against Hopkins. Just his first.
Man, Todd Pettiford takes some tough shots. And he can make them. But it's a tough way to live. Like, he's got to make an incredible play, it feels like, on a lot of these possessions. And that's a great effort there by Kevin Overton, just flying in there from the perimeter. And you can see Rick Pitino not pleased with his team.
Already 17 fouls on St. John's. So Auburn's going to shoot here for the final 12-20.
Looking ahead for both these teams, high major opponents wait. NC State for Auburn, Ole Miss for St. John's. It's not like this gets any easier.
Well, they've played tough schedules to this point. Mentioned Auburn's 1-point loss against Houston. St. John's that loss to Alabama at the Garden in early November. Hopkins thought he was going to take the three.
The shot. A cut by Sellers. 2 Auburn defenders went with him. He was wide open.
But he will get to the charity stripe where he has feasted here on Thanksgiving week in Vegas. $11:58 remaining here in the final game for these two teams in Vegas. Our Geico assist leaderboard. Both teams kind of spreading the wealth in that category. Sellers with 3, Sebastian Williams-Adams with 3.
That would have been a lonely graphic yesterday for Auburn.
Yes, with 3 total as a team.
Would have been tough. Better today.
Yeah, Michigan just blitzed them yesterday by 30 points. And that breaks the streak for Hopkins.
Why that happened?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You know why that happened.
He had made all 20 here in Vegas before Robbie mentioned that.
You mentioned it.
And then he missed one.
But being
and
that
then he missed 2.
That you're a bad shooter, you don't want to see others thrive. I hear it.
Robbie Hummel 4 on Twitter, I believe it is.
Okay.
That is rare, though. You do not see that very often for Bryce Hopkins.
I thought you meant the announcer jinx. I was like, man, you kind of do. St. John's has blown up this possession. Now you're going to have to just go and make a play.
Well, here's Pettiford. You said he gets a lot of tough shots up. He passes it to the corner. High in the air. And it belongs to St. John's off the Overton miss.
Auburn just wasn't able to get into their set because of the pressure of St. John's there.
Not a whole lot of three-point makes for either side. Auburn 3 for 11, St. John's 5 for 17.
When Ian Jackson's in, he is looking to score that thing.
There he goes, but he traveled. He got too excited to score.
Some creative footwork there.
A little bunny hop at the end.
That's what he's in the game to do. That is his great strength. A little hesitation. They called it a travel. I don't even know if it was. He went 1-2.
It looked like it was
so
live.
Bizarre, but
yeah.
You saw Auburn get called for a couple travels that actually weren't in the first half. A great verticality, but still, Keyshawn Hall just going right through that.
We have talked about his toughness. He has 13 to lead the Auburn Tigers. Mitchell kicks it out. Sannon never shy. A chance at 4 for number 3.
His confidence as a shooter does not waver. We talked about his struggles earlier in the game. He does a nice job here of relocating to get into the vision. Dylan Mitchell on the drive, and look at Sannon just follow behind.
Mentioned that he started his college career at Arizona State, had offers from everywhere, but now in Queens, but he cannot complete that 4-point play. Murphy surveys.
Good switch back there by Dylan Mitchell.
Trying to go big to big. Pass was too low. The arrow will keep it on this side. There's just 6 to shoot.
Auburn running that patented flex cut there, and St. John's switching it, but then Dylan Mitchell able to take advantage of a little lull in the possession and get right back to the bigger player.
Young man's got his slides on. I thought you'd need shoes.
Casual night here in Vegas.
Okay. That's what the kids do these days. The socks with the slides. Inside.
You've never played AU basketball.
Williams Adams with a bucket. I'm a lot older than you, Robbie.
Yeah, we know.
Remember that.
Yeah, you are.
Bullet inside. St. John's able to keep it. And a good feed to Jackson.
Boy, that's one of those plays that could go either way. Josiah Sellers just getting that loose ball and making a play for St. John's, and then an errant pass up the floor.
Been so many momentum shifts in this game from the jump. Right now it's on the side of St. John's. Ejiofor, a game-high 21 for the big fella. He hands it to Sellers. Jackson looks to attack. How about Ejiofor? Murphy, remember, playing with 3 fouls. Sannon!
But what a pass, though. That play was awesome from Zuby Ejiofor. Didn't settle for a 3, drove the lane, drew the defense, kicked it out, got Sannon a wide open shot.
6-point lead is number 6, Elijah Freeman. Handles the basketball for Auburn. Drives. Floats. Got it. He wanted a foul, but he'll take the bucket.
He's just willing himself to the basket there.
And then a travel on Jackson.
Elijah Freeman will not be denied here. Euro step, defense all over him. Degree of difficulty on that shot, 10 out of 10.
He transferred up from a Division II school in Tennessee, but they say he has NBA potential. Best leaper on that Auburn squad.
Yeah, real athlete there. Certainly the work he needs to put in on his jump shot has all the tools to be a great defensive player.
Shot up 5 inches as a senior in high school.
Late bloomer.
Yeah, that's why he didn't have many offers. Good extra pass.
Yes, that's a good possession from Auburn.
And a beautiful shot from Pettiford.
Funny how that works, right? The ball moves, you get an open one, everybody working together, draw 2, kick it, extra pass. Good offense by the Auburn Tigers.
Sannon, they say it's clean. Pettiford with a block. Hall. There's a foul on Sellers, and that is his 4th.
Boy, the momentum shifts in this game, even within little 4-minute segments, have been jarring. Here's the post-up. You draw 2 for Keyshawn Hall, extra pass. Jahad Pettiford, nice little shot fake. It's an easy game when you play it the right way, and then in transition, good luck slowing down Keyshawn Hall. This guy lives at the foul line.
Does he ever? He came in 51 of 55 on the season. Both of those marks near the top in the country. TNT Sports coverage of the Players Era is brought to you by Lilly, a medicine company. And also by Geico. It feels good to Geico. You brought up a good point earlier. This is going to be, at the end of the year, a quad one opportunity for both teams. I think Auburn's going to have more opportunities at quad one wins in the SEC. So this is big for St. John's.
This is a very big game for St. John's, just in terms of who you're going to see in conference play, with the SEC being the gauntlet that it is. And certainly the Big East. You have the Johnnies, you have UConn, and then there's some real question marks after that.
And we are all locked up at 61. Hopkins gets a screen to the corner. Off the mark for Io. Offensive rebound. Ibinayo again. This time at the rim.
As aggressive as we've seen Sadiku Ibinayo, known as a glue guy, but tonight he's given this team some offensive spark.
42 points in the paint for the Red Storm.
That's what they do. 5th nationally in points in the paint. They average 47 a game.
This is developing into a tremendous top 25 battle between Auburn out of the SEC and St. John's out of the Big East on a Wednesday. Back to the Geico Players Era Championship coverage on True TV, presented by Eli Lilly from Las Vegas. All lit up. And St. John's and Auburn starting to light it up. Back and forth we go. It's the Red Storm by 2. The most recent bucket by Sadiku Ibinayo.
Well, he's been so aggressive in this game. He's taken 7 shots. He has 7 points. That's by far a season high in terms of field goal attempts. He has looked for his own offense tonight.
Second half comparison. +6 in second chance points for St. John's. As we mentioned, they live in the paint. Meanwhile, this guy Keyshawn Hall, he was quiet in the first half with just 2 points, but since intermission, he has 14.
It's been refreshing to see some free throws go in. Yesterday, I felt like it was maybe going to rub off on us from watching some of the free throw shooting.
Unfortunately, we had a couple games with Syracuse who's really struggled from the line this year. Our 5th tie of the game right now, and it's 63.
Good job right there. The help defense. Really good stuff from Kevin Overton. Just reading that was going to be a post entry to Ejiofor and taking that away.
7 minutes remaining.
This is that small lineup again for Auburn, so certainly some challenges in terms of rebounding, but offensively some advantages right there. Wow.
That was beautiful from Tahad Pettiford. 10-2 run for Auburn. Hopkins will line it up.
That small lineup, I'd just say St. John's go inside. You also can get the offensive rebound, but a long rebound leads to a run out, and that leads to a Pettiford 3.
That kid is feeling it, making a 13-2 run for the Tigers.
Auburn's got a double.
Foul, that's the 4th on Williams-Adams.
And Stephen Pearl is making that very clear to the Auburn defense that they're supposed to be double teaming there. Tahad Pettiford, those last 2 possessions, first to the rim, then from 3. Give it up, get it back. St. John's not matching up. But Auburn going to have to get on the same page with this smaller lineup in. Now we are looking at Keyshawn Murphy ready to check in here. But when they're small, there is no way they can go single coverage on Zuby Ejiofor.
Tough thing, though, as we noted, Rob, when you double him, he's such a good passer out of the post, he can really hurt you.
But with their small lineup, I mean, you got to live with that. You just have to be connected. You know, when you double, you got to flood the weak side. You can't give up layups, then you got to rotate out. And now it's on Kevin Murphy to not pick up another foul. He has done a good job thus far. He still only has 3. But now that's 4 on Sebastian Williams-Adams.
Yeah, that's why Williams-Adams goes to the bench with still 6 minutes remaining. This young man has 18. Pettiford from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Loves that crossover. He just rips that thing. Hard to stay in front of that.
Driving on Ejiofor.
Oh, wow.
giving up almost a foot to Ejiofor.
And he's losing his balance and still finds a way to get that thing to go off glass.
And then a turnover.
No, they called a foul.
Yes, they do. A hold inside.
Like Tahad Pettiford, it's the crossover dribble. He just gets you so quick with it. That is such a tough shot going off glass. Good defense by Ejiofor, just better offense. And here's this post entry.
And Rob, they got that on Murphy.
That is not a foul.
And it's a tough one because now you got both of the Auburn bigs with 4.
Boy, that is not a good pass. That's really fortunate for St. John's.
But Stephen Pearl, and I understand why, he's just going to keep Murphy out there on the court. One and one, and Ejiofor hits the first. He's got 23 tonight. Only third-year player in the rotation for Rick Pitino. Amongst all that change, you got him and then Ibin Ayo, who came over from Iona with Rick Pitino. But Ejiofor is really that third-year guy that's the leader for this team.
He's worked on his game and gotten so much better from his first season at St. John's. Certainly from his first season at Kansas.
Yeah, started there, things didn't work out, ends up with Rick Pitino in his first, second, now third seasons in Queens.
He transferred because of Hunter Dickinson.
Long range, Pettiford, oh, he is feeling it now.
All it takes for him is to see one go down, and at the end of a game, trying to stop Tahad Pettiford with his shot making. That is high level.
Largest lead for Auburn. Sannon. Yes, St. John's needed it.
And Pettiford just lost track of him. Sannon does a great job of relocating and finding open areas. And if you're Tahad Pettiford, you've got to just go with him.
Murphy saved by Pettiford. Auburn has made their last 8 shots.
This is going up.
It is.
There's no way Dylan Darling is going to be able to stay in front of him.
Darling picks up his first foul.
Tahad Pettiford is putting together quite the mixtape of tough shots here tonight. We've seen it at the rim. We've seen it from 3. He is all the way up to 23 points. He sees this matchup with Dylan Darling, and Darling had to take that foul. There's no way he was going to stay in front.
Yeah, Robbie's got 23. He has their last 10 points. And he'll try to add to that here.
Well, what a player's era he's had. 2 leading into this, 20 a game, and he's been so efficient.
Pettiford went through the NBA Combine like a lot of guys will do. He was projected as a second-round pick, so he wanted to come back, improve his stock. Now as a sophomore here at Auburn.
We've seen the NBA draft has been hurt by NIL in terms of finding second-round picks that can kind of pan out for you because those guys just go back to school and they make more money.
Different era.
That's got to go inside to Zuby Ejiofor. He's got a guy guarding him that's in foul trouble. He's got great position. I don't know why you don't throw it into him.
Ejiofor's going to force the issue himself. And Murphy playing with those 4 fouls, able to play clean defense. Next whistle, we will get our final media timeout here at Michelob Ultra Arena.
Auburn just going to take turns. It's going to be Pettiford and it's going to be Hall.
And Hall doesn't get the basket, but he will go to the line when we get back to Vegas. What a game this has turned out to be. Number 21 Auburn right now on the shoulders of Pettiford with a lead over the Getting down to the good stuff here at Michelob Ultra Arena. Second half, Auburn plus 15 after St. John's led by 9 at intermission. And Robbie, Keyshawn Hall and Tahad Pettiford have combined for the last 18 for Auburn.
But this is what these guys do. You know, end of the game, they're terrifying because containing them off the dribble is such a challenge. The way that Hall can get to the foul line and hurt you inside, and the way that Pettiford can get you at the rim or also from three, play pick and roll. Those are tough guys to cover when the game's on the line.
That was Hall's first free throw miss. He's now 7 for 8 and over 90% on the season. You think St. John should go into Ejiofor?
Yes, I
do. Murphy almost got a steal.
Lucky that gamble didn't burn him. You missed that. Your defense is at a real disadvantage.
He had Ejiofor on the roll, did Sam, and he missed him. Ejiofor, top of the key. Murphy defending with 4 fouls.
Good cut by Sellers.
Sellers draws the contact against Freeman.
Now, Murphy has 4 fouls. I don't know why they just don't duck in Zuby Ejiofor, give him space, and then let him make a play out of that. But Osiah Sellers with that cut. Everybody gets caught watching the ball, and he just takes that thing to the rim.
Well, Sellers had a huge game yesterday against Baylor, 22 points. It's been a different story here tonight. 3 points, 1 of 6 from the floor.
Man, he's an 89% foul shooter, 4th in the Big East, missing that first one. He's had open looks from the field, too. That first half, he got some good shots early on and just didn't make them. But Dylan Mitchell hasn't really been much of a factor either, for as good as he's been playing.
Both teams trying to get out of Vegas, 2-1. Hall on the drive.
Oh, what a block.
Ejiofor blocked up top.
Boy, Mitchell goes vertical. Ejiofor cleans it up. That was getting downhill off that inverted pick and roll.
Now can they get Ejiofor the ball on this end? He's got it. He spins twice.
I think he traveled.
They say he did walk.
But they've been trying to pull the chair. That's twice now where we've seen Keyshawn Hall just back off and get Ejiofor off balance. The first time they didn't call it, this time they do.
14 turnovers for St. John's, 12 for Auburn.
Somebody's going to have to contain Tahad Pettiford here for St. John's.
Right now it's Sellers on him. Shot clock drips inside of 10. Down to Hall. Double comes. Murphy open. Murphy from downtown.
He can make that though. 4 of 9 from 3 coming in. They're just not guarding him because they're concerned about Hall. And how about Keyshawn Murphy? He's dealt with foul trouble all game long.
He gives Auburn their largest lead, and Rick Pitino takes his final timeout.
All the attention being paid right here to Keyshawn Hall on the block as he's got Osiah Sellers. You're going to see Zuby Ejiofor. He makes his way in. There's a late rotation. And how about Keyshawn Murphy making a massive shot for the Tigers?
That is a guy in Keyshawn Murphy who's from Birmingham. Grew up in the shadows of Auburn. They recruited him hard out of high school, but he ended up choosing Mississippi State over Auburn. But now as a senior, he goes back home to play for the Tigers. You talked about the momentum shifts. When this game started and St. John's just looked lost, I thought, man, Auburn may blow them out of the water. Then it reversed, and now it's flipped again here.
It's been a wild game. And these consolation games, you just never know. Because just the mindset after the disappointment of not being able to win, and certainly the added kind of bonus of playing in this event where you are playing for money. So
yes.
Like there can be a bit of a letdown, even though there's still so much at stake for St. John's. You know, from a resume standpoint, this is a crucial game. Now they're going to get some more opportunities down the line here, but you've got to start winning some of these big games. You let the Alabama one kind of slip away, and now you're letting the Auburn one do the same.
They've got just over 2 minutes to erase what has become a 9-point deficit.
And Brandon, the close loss to Iowa State as well. So in all of your opportunities against your marquee opponents, it's not been enough for the Johnnies.
Hopkins lines it up, left it short. They'll try to pressure in the backcourt. But Auburn able to work it across, and now they are in no hurry. Overton, he's eyeing that shot clock.
This should go back to Hall or Pettiford.
It's going to be Overton. Out to Murphy, hit one a moment ago. Well, they got to put it up now. Overton does.
I don't like the possession, but look who it is. Keyshawn Hall saving it all.
Hall says, you're not going to give me the ball, I'll rip it down off the glass. People focus on his scoring. Yes, he can score, but he's averaging over 9 rebounds a game.
Well, he just crashes his way in there. He's taking on Bryce Hopkins. He's taking on Zuby Ejiofor, and he gets the rebound that they absolutely needed. He's missed a couple here late, though, from the foul line. Uncharacteristic.
Now he's 7 of 9 tonight. 8 of 10. And the lead is 10.
When you shoot 92% from the line, high bar.
A quick bucket is needed for Rick Pitino's club. Shannon, oh, he missed the dunk. Put back though by Mitchell.
Boy, St. John's has been horrific at the rim tonight. 9 of 22 on layups, 2 of 3 now on dunks.
That was a microcosm for them. Stephen Pearl's going to take a timeout. He still has a couple remaining. Just 60 ticks remaining here. Folks, tune in to the NHL on TNT's Thanksgiving Showdown Friday as the New York Rangers are taking on the Boston Bruins. Coverage begins 12:30 Eastern on TNT and HBO Max. Keyshawn Hall, 19 points, 8 rebounds for Auburn.
Well, 17 of those have come in the second half. He's done a little bit of everything. Showing off the jumper. We know how well he plays inside. The physicality's been on display all night long. And as they've needed plays down the stretch, it's been such a heavy dose of Tahad Pettiford and Keyshawn Hall.
When Hall led the Big 12 in scoring last year at UCF, he put up almost 19 a game. But when the lights were the brightest is when he was at his best. He scored 40 at Arizona State and 34 against Kansas last year. Pettiford works it up.
But down it, yeah, I was going to say St. John's has to foul. If you let this run down to 30 as an 8-point game, you're just not going to have the time.
Double bonus the rest of the way for Auburn.
Rick Pitino is telling Brian O'Connell that he thought that, I believe it was Tahad Pettiford who caught the ball, that he kind of took a negative step when he caught it and maybe stepped on the baseline.
Rick Pitino, his team on the doorstep of dropping to 4-3 on the young season. But some tough teams they face. The loss to Alabama, that close loss to Iowa State here on Monday by 1 point. Ejiofor from downtown, off the mark. And that should just about do it. As we head to the other end for 2 more free throws. Well, credit Stephen Pearl and Auburn. Losing by 30 yesterday. They could have let that eke into today and into their Thanksgiving break, but they have not.
Well, and you're down 9 at the half to a talented St. John's team, and you come back in the second and just blitz them. It's 51-33 in the second half in favor of Auburn.
And back to a double-digit lead. And for Rick Pitino and St. John's, coming off that great season last year, winning their first Big East title in 4 decades. Preseason number 5 in the country. Look, it's a very talented team, but they've got some things to figure out.
They totally do. Honestly, one of them is just kind of learning how to win as this group together. They've let some games, that Iowa State one slipped away, the Bama game slipped away. Here just, it felt like they kind of messed around. You didn't get the ball inside. You had just Auburn in a world of hurt with foul trouble. You don't take advantage there.
Pettiford really wanted that lob to be thrown to him. It didn't happen. And Sellers just fouled out of the game with 23.6 remaining.
St. John's lineup. Replacing Sellers. Freeman at the line for Auburn, issue 2.
Auburn looking to exit Vegas 2-1 with wins over Oregon and St. John's on their resume. Just over 20 seconds away. Ibinayo has had a good game, but it's going to come in a losing effort. Offensive board and a bump by Freeman that will put Sandin at the line. And Auburn coming off that Final Four last year. Of course, they made their first Final Four in 2019, went back last year, then the change from Bruce Pearl to Stephen Pearl. They also lost an All-American and Janai Broom, but they put together another solid squad this year.
Well, think about how much they lost. I mean, other than Todd Pettiford, everybody is new.
A new group, but they go 2-1 in Vegas. They polish off the trip with an 85-74 win over 14th ranked St. John's. And Pettiford led the way, a career-high 27. He is our impact player tonight, is Tahad Pettiford, brought to you by Lilly.
Boy, what a player's era he had. All 3 games, 20 points or more. Tonight, 27. You mentioned the career high. An efficient 10 of 19 from the field. That's how he's been out here in Vegas. He's at the rim and shot making from 3. That handle is elite. But Tahad Pettiford, when his team needed him most, he stepped up here and he brings Auburn a ranked win over St. John's.
Preseason All-American, and he played like it tonight. And the Tigers, even though they were down 9 at intermission, able to get a win 85-74. We go over to Nabil.
Coach, the execution down the stretch was a difference. How were you guys able to be so efficient?
Our guys just kind of stuck with it. You know, we got in the halftime, and we really had to have a real talk about what was going on in the first half. Kevin Overton stepped up and had some things to say that I think really changed the tide of the second half. You know, I'm really proud of our guys for just hanging in there. You know, we told our guys to act like the better team because we felt like we were the better team. In the second half, we did that, and we had some big step up from, you know, guys like Keyshawn Hall and Todd Pettiford.
What does it say about your team, especially after yesterday's loss, to respond like this?
This team's bounced back from adversity a lot this year. I'm unbelievably proud of my guys for finding a way to just hang in there and beat a really good team. So this group can be special as long as we stay out of our own way. And I thought we did a great job of that in the second half.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you, man. War Eagle.
He got a War Eagle in there, and he got a second win in Vegas in there before heading back to Auburn, Alabama. Great top 25 matchup. We're not done. More action for the Players Era tournament in about 25 minutes with Baylor taking on San Diego State. But for now, for Robbie Hummel, to Bill Kareem, and the rest of our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin saying goodbye. We will talk to you in a little bit. Tim Doyle and the gang in the studio after the break.